Hey guys, Foxdrop here with a video on what junglers are the winningest for low elo solo queue. If you want to take a look at what's hot in gold and below, what wins the most games, and a small overview of how to play those champions, then this is the video for you. This is a video being made in partnership with Pro Guides, who by the way have released quite a nifty new service called Genius. What they've done is they've banded together a bunch of high elo players to be at your disposal. So if you ever have a question you want to ask a high elo player, you can do that 24 hours a day. Not bad, eh? So to start this list off, the 5th best jungler for solo queue is Sejuani. Imagine Amumu with a pig, worse jungle clears, and a ranged ultimate. Sejuani is someone who isn't so good in the early game, which is why you don't see her so often in the higher leagues, where the jungle meta consists of heavy early game champions such as Kindred and Nidalee. However, outside of that early game, she does bring a lot to the table as an initiator and a tanky frontline. Two features reign supreme in the lower leagues: tanks due to their ease of accessibility and difficulty in taking down, and hard CC due to its ability to lock people down and win disorganized teamfights. Sejuani packs both of these traits, which makes her a fairly tough opponent to face. As for how to play Sejuani, these are the runes and masteries you'll want to run while taking this skill order. You'll want to build mostly tanky with the potential for some magic pen or hybrid AP tank items if you get fed. You won't want or need to do too much early. Like I said, she's not so good at that point, but you can still gank if you know you aren't going to run into the enemy jungler. After level 6, you'll want to gank whenever your ultimate is up and farm when it's not, and when laning phase ends, you'll often want to look to start fights by throwing your ulti out. Either hit as many people as you can or hit the valuable targets, which are the squishy carries. Our 4th jungler on this list is Skarner. Interestingly enough, Skarner's win rate isn't so hot in the very low leagues, only barely above 50% in bronze, but it jumps straight to around 53 and 54 from silver all the way to diamond. It's kind of hard to say why Skarner's insatiable rampage is only realized after bronze. Perhaps it's the silver frost of the Lin Kuei that's needed to spark things, but the bottom line is that, despite being viewed as a bit of a failed project of the Juggernaut class, as most of them have been, Skarner still packs more than enough sting to see him through. His 1v1 outside of the very early game is pretty hard to match, and the ability to impale and drag hapless enemies into his team is something always useful in an environment where weary stragglers lack the communication to feel the safety of the pack, i.e. every solo queue team ever. So how do you play the Crystal Scorpion? Well, start with these runes and masteries, this skill order, and build more or less full tank. Skarner isn't someone who should be too afraid of any opposition in 1v1, so you can poke your nose about the enemy jungle or force small skirmishes wherever you want. He's alright early, but really shines later on, where you want to gank whenever your ultimate is up. Skarner is undoubtedly formidable when he can drag people about, but still poses a threat when he can't, so shouldn't completely disappear when that ability is on cooldown. The later the game goes, the more you want to just run at enemy players and try to catch them. Flash ulting enemy carries is a really strong way to win teamfights, but even if that isn't possible, you can still run around and be a pain regardless. Next on our list of great low elo junglers is Mr. Blobby himself, Zac. Not so much of a secret weapon anymore, at least not to my audience who've had to endure quite a few endorsements of this slippery fella. Zac is great for starting fights from afar. His elastic slingshot, his E, is what makes Zac such a unique and powerful jungler. Being able to come in from miles away is really handy for catching people off guard and forcing fights that benefit your team. He needs some points before his E becomes anything special, so his first few levels are a bit on the weak side. He also does lack damage and general usefulness if you miss that E, but the way he powers through the jungle while remaining healthy makes him one of the least punishing junglers around. For skill order, runes and masteries, you should run this setup. Your item build will want to focus on tankiness, but also lean a little towards damage if you're not hideously behind. You'll want a lot of health regardless of your build, and the way you play Zac in the lane phase more or less depends on what you like to do and how the game is going. He can power farm really well, but he can also gank quite serviceably as well. His level 6 is nice, but not as big of a power spike as many other junglers, so don't worry too much about playing around that. He's also a rare case of tanks being able to solo, or at least nearly solo, dragons from very early on due to the spammable percentage health damage from his W and healing from the blobs. General rule of thumb for playing Zac: jump out of fog of war, and more specifically from over walls. That's where you're most likely to get the enemy by surprise. Before we head into our top 2 junglers today, I just want to thank you guys for watching so far, and if you are enjoying this video and haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to me here for similar stuff and drop the video a cheeky like down below if you think it deserves it. It might not, you never know, I'm just giving you that power. It's up to you whether you use it for good or for evil. Our runner-up for this list is Amumu. Seems a bit harsh to call the sad mummy a runner-up when he's pretty much identical to our first place champion as far as win rates go, sitting between a whopping 55 to 56 win percentage, but regardless, here we are. Out of everyone on this list, I'm pretty sure this is the one that you guys saw coming the most. Nothing major to really say here. He clears well, he has decent damage, has one of, if not the best, low elo stomping ultimates in the game. Why is it so good? Well, because it capitalizes on the enemy's inability to coordinate as a team, i.e. prepare for an Amumu engage, their inability to give enough respect to potential threats, i.e. not realize exactly when and how Amumu can wreck you, and the inability to properly position in general, i.e. grouping up. All this at an elo bracket where the go-to strategy tends to involve a lot of grouping up and fighting unnecessarily. I mean, hell, it's even pretty good outside of low elo, and even if it's not used for its teamfight prowess, it's still a decent amount of damage. Go these runes, skill order, and this mastery page. Get either full tank, hybrid AP tanky, or glass cannon AP, as I like to call the grenade Amumu, as you'll be blowing everything around you up, including yourself. In my opinion, I think a hybrid build works best on him, but if in doubt, lean more towards tankiness. Amumu's weakest point is before he hits level 6. He can still gank and do stuff, but he's not incredibly effective. He also happens to be a really solid farmer, so it makes sense to lean more towards that before you unlock that big power spike. After level 6, gank whenever your ultimate is up, and after the lane phase, group when your team is grouped, and try and hit your ulti on as many people as possible. Going for a Q/ult combo can be a really solid way to lock down as many opponents as you can and pretty much win your team the fight by itself. And lastly, our first place jungler today is the fuzzy teddy bear Volibear. Volley doesn't offer any immense crowd control, he doesn't have a game-winning ultimate or any big play potential. What Volibear does so well is, well, not give a shit. I really don't think there's a more apt way to describe the playstyle and strengths of Volley. He really just does not give a flying toss about many things he comes up against in game. He is ridiculously tanky, but also provides some of the strongest overall damage outputs for the early and mid game. A few flittering thwacks from this grisly Ursine followed by a swift nibble is usually more than enough to severely maim, if not outright kill a target that hasn't built a lot of tankiness. Your skill order, runes, and masteries will look a bit like this. You won't need to build anything that isn't a pure tank item, as Volley gets ridiculous damage regardless of his investment into those items, meaning it makes more sense to just be able to stay alive for as long as possible. Volley works best when you're applying as much pressure as possible by running around and fighting people wherever you can. Somewhat like Zac and very unlike most other junglers, Volley's level 6 is no biggie. All it really does is whack up his DPS, which of course is nice, but doesn't really let him do much more than he was already able to do. This is a bit of a downside as it doesn't allow you to pull a trigger and make magical shit happen, as is often the case with high impact ultimates, but overall, honestly, it's more of an upside as it means you don't have to rely on that stuff to get the job done. But anyway, that's all I got for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget, of course, you can leave that cheeky thumbs up down below. You can subscribe to me for more educational league content. Also, you can leave your feedback down below in the comments. I'll try to get around to answering some questions you have as well. Thank you again to Pro Guys for helping me with the editing for this video. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and catch me streaming over at twitch.tv/Foxdrop. All those links are in the description, guys. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.